Dear Nilambe sisters and brothers, once again we are sitting together to practice meditation and go deeper into our consciousness. I hope early meditation and mindful yoga helped you to regain your awareness, consciousness, and establish yourself in the present, and also open your hearts. And from this point, we can continue our journey now together. This is our second group meditation session for today retreat. Our hearts are happy, especially about this opportunity. Also, our hearts are so happy because we have a lot of spiritual friends, teachers, and masters. We are not alone in this path. Now, let us use our mind or our memory or memories to remember the most bad experience in our life. Most ugly event in the past, or most sorrowful incident in our life which we can remember. Usually we do not like to remember those dark experiences, but now we are in the present, full of light is here. Therefore, we are not afraid of any shadow. In our recent history or long-term history, doesn't matter. The most painful happening in our life, how it started, did it suddenly start or gradually, slowly, step by step? and how long it was lasting, how many hours, or how many days, or how many weeks. During that period, how did we look at the life and the world? What kind of, or what type of thoughts or conclusions or pictures we had in our minds about the life and the world. And how how did we overcome that situation, that pain? How did we make a full stop for that darkness? Did it happen automatically, or because of something else? Did we learn anything, any lesson from that experience whilst experiencing or after the experience? What did we learn? Now we can focus on our attention on the most beautiful experience what we had in our life, the most delicious event, the most joyful, heavenly incident. There might be lot, many, but whatever we can remember. How did it start and how long it was lasting and how did it finish? Did we learn anything? Anything from that beautiful experience? Let us now come back to here and now, to this moment. field-wise, you may open your eyes slowly and consciously now. It's always nice and beautiful whenever we meditate together. Of course, even though we meditate alone, it's good. Sometimes we are struggling to meditate, to concentrate, to be in the present, to sit, to close our eyes. So all are not always simple and easy things. But time to time, sitting together and meditate together, that is one of the most touching and blissful experiences, I think, for everybody. That's why we are doing this one-day retreat monthly, and that's why it is happening smoothly always. With, of course, with some organizations, with some organizers, but each month this gathering, this meeting, this satsang goes very well. And in this meditation, we try to remember or recall some of our past memories, some of our past experiences. First, painful experience, ugly, dark, bitter, bad, and sorrowful. Of course, we had many painful experiences, but we only recall to one of them. And this is called vipassana, or reflection, investigation, or contemplation meditation. And we are now used to practice this type of meditation as well. So how that bad experience came to our life, how it came. Did it come suddenly without giving us any notice, prior notice, or did it start gradually, step by step, slowly? And how long it lasts? How long? And how what happened to us while we were going through that experience? What happened to us? What happened to our thinking? What happened to our attitudes? How did we think about ourselves and the world when we were suffering, when we were going through a dark tunnel? How we were, and then how it finished. So it is not still going on. It's over now. And how it happened? Did it finish by itself suddenly, or because of some effort, some exercises, some understanding, or some help, we could overcome it? How it happened? And the last one is, what did we learn from that experience while we were suffering? While we were going through that painful experience, did we learn anything? And after that, after we overcome it, what did we learn? Did we learn anything after that? That means, are we different now? Or the same one before the suffering, while we are suffering, and after the suffering, are we same? Or now we are different? Now we are changed. The way we think, the way we respond, the way we react, the way we look at things, the way we grasp things, different, almost same. So another way, does that experience influence us? Or does that experience change our life, change our mentality? And then the last, or the second one is, beautiful experience, blissful, heavenly experience. Again, everybody has many. So we were trying to remember one of them, the most beautiful, most pleasant, most joyful experience, and same, how it came to our life. Because of what? Suddenly or gradually. And how it lasts, and how it goes away. And did it change our life before, whilst, and after that? Are we same, or we are now different? And then we come back to the present moment, here and now moment. No bad, neither bad, no good. Peaceful. We have heard this for many times from all the teachers. The life is a teacher. Our own life is a teacher. And lot of lessons are there. Lot of lessons. It's a book. And it's a discourse. The life itself is a discourse. And are we reading it? Do we read it? Do we learn? Do we listen? All the teachers, my dear friends, ask us to learn from our own life, listen to our own life, read our own life. Of course, we read a lot of books, a lot of spiritual books, Dhamma books, so many, thousands of talks, and we meet hundreds of teachers, and we participate to hundreds of workshops and retreats and meditation programs. All are very nice. All make us rich. And all those retreats, workshops, meditation programs are training ourselves to listen to our life, learn from our life, read our life. So that is the most important part. But unfortunately, most of spiritual practitioners and meditators are always going behind teachers, masters, and always thinking about retreats and workshops, one after the other, one after the other, one after the other. And they think that is the way to follow the path or walk on the path or practice meditation. My dear friends, we all are happy to do that. If there is an ideal teacher, good master, and we all like to follow him or her, even I, myself. That's a hidden desire. Always be with that teacher and always listening to each word, whatever comes from his or her mouth. We are so greedy for that, so greedy. A student was in a university and he always in the library and reading, one after the other, one after the other. And then at the end of the year, the supervisor came to that university and he was observing, monitoring what this student does while other students are playing games in the playground and singing and dancing. Only this particular student is always, whenever he is free, he comes to the library and read some subjective books and study. Then the supervisor addressed to the principal and said, this student is so wise. He's always learning and studying. Then the principal said, I am not sure. I am not sure. I have doubts. It was a puzzle for the supervisor. Why? Why it's not sure? It's very obvious. He's always learning and making notes while reading. That's true. That's true. He's always reading and reading. Therefore, I don't think he has any time to learn, any time to study. So learning and studying are different than reading books. It's a meditation. Of course, reading is a meditation as well, but learning and studying is a meditation. We have to do with ourselves, not with any books, not with any teachers. After listening and after hearing, then we had to be with ourselves. So teacher's role is over. The rest of the path or rest of the practice is up to us. My dear friends, life is materials, full of seeds of wisdom are there. When I say life is rich, I do not mean that life is always beautiful. Life is always good. Life is always joyful. No, I can't say that like that. Nobody can say like that. Sometimes it's so bitter, so ugly, so painful, so sad, and so dark. That's the reality. And sometimes, yes, sometimes it's so nice. Like a carnival, sometimes. But it's rich. Means full of seeds of wisdom are there. Not the wisdom, seeds of wisdom are there. Every single experience tries to teach something, tries to teach us something which we didn't learn before. That's why each and every single experience comes. There are a lot of or many theories behind our suffering and our joyful experiences. One of the most, there are two main theories. One is it's a God will. It's a God will. The God wants to test us how much our faith. So it's a test. And the other theory is it's a karma. When we are suffering, that means it's a result of one of our past karma. We may hurt someone in our past. That's why now we are in pain. So both are beautiful and wise theories, wise ideas. Whether it's a God will or karma, both are good. Both are helping to the human society to have a moral way of living. Therefore, it's good, but it's not good enough. From the meditation point of view, one can say we didn't learn. We didn't complete our learning. We didn't complete our lessons. If we have completed our learning, then we are not here. Why we are here? Why we are still here in this school of the world, the school of universe? Why we are still here? Why we come back again and again to this school of the universe as students? Because we did not complete our studies. Simply we forget that we are students. We come to this university to learn, to mature, to get wisdom. Simply we forget it. And we think we are having different aims, different targets, different goals. And with all those different thoughts, we are just wasting our lifetime. We are just wasting our life. We are just wasting our time. And later, the life asks this question from us. You have been living for 40 years, 50 years, 60 years now. What did you learn? What did you learn? There was a meditator in India. Actually, he was a guru, and many followers were there with him. He always recite the name of Shiva, God of Shiva, Shiva, Namo Shivaya, Namo Shivaya. And always thinking and learning about the God of Shiva. Always he was talking about the God of Shiva in his entire life. Therefore, many Shiva followers and disciples were with him. He was so famous. And after a while, he became very old and close to the death. Then suddenly he stopped to recite the name of the God of Shiva and stopped to read all the books what he was reading about the Shiva. Stopped to talk about Shiva. He became completely silent. And everybody, it was a shock for all the disciples. Everybody thought now he became confused because of his age, because of his pain. Now he loses his consciousness. He was confused because the disciples' logic is very correct. Because all the ordinary people who are engaged with business and politics and sex and everything, they simply forget about gods or reciting any name of any god. But whenever they come closer to death, then they start to do all kinds of religious activities. Even they went to holy places. But This teacher, he was different. He was so religious and doing all the religious activities during his whole life. But whenever death comes closer, he stopped everything. So one of the main disciples asked this question from the Guru. Dear teacher, we all are worried about you. Sorry to say this, we all are worried about you. We think you are confused now. So therefore, it's our responsibility to remind you to recite this mantra. Now that is the reality we have to accept. Now you are dying. This might be your last moment. So better to recite this mantra, Namo Shivaya, Namo Shivaya. Everybody did. Even all the worldly people. Whenever they come closer to death, they start to recite this mantra. So please, restart. Then the teacher said, no. And they forced him to. They thought it's their duty. So they forced him to recite this mantra, Namo Shivaya, Namo Shivaya. And they started to recite. Namo, everybody, all the students, all the assembly now was reciting this mantra. The teacher said, please stop. Let me explain. You are true. All ordinary people. That's true. They simply forget about spiritual life or religious life because of so many other engagements. But when they realize that they are dying, they had to die, then of course fear comes. They are so afraid of the death and the next life. Therefore, they need some anchor to hang on. That's true. And that's why I started this religious life in my childhood time. So in my whole life, I was reciting Shiva, 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 and studying about this God of Shiva. But now my death, it is calling me. It seems calling me. And now I realize this, the death is going to ask this question from me. The death is going to ask this question from me. So everybody said, what's the question? I know, everybody said, we know the question. The question is, are you faithful disciple of the God of Shiva? Master said, no, the death does not ask this question. The death does not ask, do you know anything about God? Do you know anything about God of Shiva? How many times did you recite this mantra? The death is not going to ask this question. But this question, what is this? Do you know about yourself? Do you know about yourself? What did you learn about your life? So if I recite this mantra again and again until I pass away, then I had to say no time to think about my life, no time to think about my presence. No, I didn't have any time to learn about my life. That's why I stopped to recite that mantra, and at least I have couple of minutes, couple of moments to be with myself and learn about my life, learn from my life. Then at least I can say, yes, I know this much about my life. So my dear friends, each life experience is a lesson. On one hand, it's a lesson. Each life experience has a lesson. On the other side, each life experience is an examination, asking certain questions from us. Not about Buddhism, not about any subject, just about our life. Sorry. As you know, in this period, in these months, people make fire around these mountains. So some ashes comes and it goes to my throat. That's why. So my dear friends, we always looking for nice experiences just to enjoy, and we always avoid bad experience. They are obvious and ordinary response towards the life. We expect half side of the life, half side of the circle, only this circle, this half, the other half, no, we don't need. We try to reject some of our experiences. We try to close our eyes and look somewhere else whenever bad experiences happening. And we try to hug and grasp whenever so-called good experiences are coming. So these two are ordinary behaviors. And we think that's the way to live. And most of humans, they do not know any other way to respond to the life, to the world, rejecting and grasping. That's all. So no learning at all. That's why we are still in the kindergarten. We are still in the kindergarten. And again, we had to come back to the kindergarten. For how many times? No guarantee. No guarantee. What a shame. What a shame. And we think we are suffering because of bad things. That's why we are suffering. Because of bad people, because of the world is bad, the society is bad, parents are bad, children are bad, partners are bad, the economy system is bad, politicians are bad, climate is bad. That's why we are suffering. So very simple theory. Everything and everybody, or the world is bad, that's why we are suffering. If the world is good, if parents are good, children are good, employers are good, then we can enjoy. With this theory, we always try to change the world, try to change others. And sometimes it's possible, and for most of the times, it is impossible. And we are failed. Only we are success for few times in our life, but for most of the times, we are failed. Then we start to hate the world, hate others. And we are looking for beautiful world, beautiful people, beautiful places. We all have this dream. If the world is beautiful, if people are beautiful, then we can enjoy our life. Then no suffering. But if the world is bad, people are bad, then we are innocent. We are helpless. We are suffering. No choice. So we hate bad people, so-called bad people. We hate so-called bad world. We hate them. By hating, what we are doing, we are creating more and more stress, more and more suffering. But we can't understand the relationship in between our suffering and our dislike reaction. Usually, when some so-called bad thing happens, then what happens to us? We are struggling. We are struggling. When we are in the middle of something bad, something wrong, something unpleasant, something painful, then what happens? Psychologically, we are struggling. We are struggling and struggling and struggling. By struggling, what happens to us? We are sinking. We are going down, 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 down when we are struggling in the mud. If we are in the muddy place, and what happens to us if we are struggling and struggling and struggling? We are sinking, 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 going down, and going down. But our intention, our hope, our dream is we can come out by struggling, by fighting against the mud. We can come up. That's the hope. With that hope, we are struggling and we are fighting. How much effort we make to fight against the mud, to fight against the bad experience, that much we are going down, down, down. In the beginning, only mud is there with our feet, and after struggling, now mud is up to our knees, and then up to our hips, up to our chest, up to our shoulders, and up to here. And most of us, my dear friends, in that state here. Mud, full of mud up to here. But fortunately, still we can breathe. So now we had to decide. This is the final decision. Maybe we don't have a second chance. what we can do now. What can we do now? Do we have to continue this struggle against so-called bad things, against the mud? Can we win by fighting against the mud? Or is there any way to overcome this muddy world? The world is muddy. No argument about that. That's true. All the teachers, even the Buddha, as Ma said in the very beginning, said this, that world is muddy. The world is not diamond. It's 90% of mud. Maybe some gems, some diamonds are there. But mostly it's muddy. We have to understand this. We have to accept this. And but we want to overcome it. We do not want to stay in the mud. Nobody wants to stay in the mud. We want to overcome it. So that's why so-called spiritual people are always going to Himalaya, Everest, or mountains, or caves, away from the muddy world, away from the muddy society. Society is muddy, full of mud. Society. That's true. With medias, with different people, with business, money. Yeah, society is so polluted. Not only today, even before. Societies are always polluted, full of pollution. Psychological, emotional, full of pollution. And so yogis are used to go to mountains or to the forest, away from the society, this polluted society, to discover, to find out inner peace. This tradition has long history, thousand of history. Before the enlightenment, the Buddha also followed this philosophy. He went to the forest. He thought this society was so polluted. It was so muddy, so bad. The truth is in the forest. The reality, the ultimate truth, the ultimate blissfulness is not here. It is not in the muddy world. It is not in the polluted society. It's in the forest. It's in the Himalaya, Everest. So with this understanding, with this philosophy, he went to the forest. And he was living in the forest and doing so many deep and complicated yogic exercises for 6 years. For most of the times, he was alone. He was alone, away from whole society, human society. And no transformation. No transformation at all. And after 6 years, what happened? He came back to the society. He came back to the society from the forest. Whenever he returned to the society, that night, transformation happened. The transformation happened not in the forest. It happened in the society, in Bodh Gaya. It's a city. And after that, the Buddha gave a couple of discourses, not couple of many. In one of the discourses, he was speaking about his experiences during that 6 years, not only 6 years, it's whole life experiences. And he said when he was alone in the forest and doing a lot of yogic, complicated and deep yogic exercises and concentration practice, he said, of course, he got high concentration ability, but none of human qualities he could cultivate when he was alone, away from the society. He went to the forest. He left the society to achieve superhuman qualities. But what he said later, he said, forget about superhuman qualities, even ordinary human qualities. None of ordinary human qualities that he could cultivate. It's not possible. Just imagine if you are alone, if you are away from the society, totally alone, do you need any quality to live? Do you have to concern about any qualities? No need. If you are totally alone, then we don't have any quality, any human quality to think about or to cultivate for living. No need. We need all beautiful qualities when we are in the society. So that's why the Buddha said, human is blooming, flowering in the society of mud. If human is a lotus, then he or she must flower in the muddy society. When Nilambe started 30 years, 40 years ago, a lot of challenges came, especially from forest traditions. In those days, my dear friends, black and white vision, especially in Sri Lanka, black and white. Either you are ordinary layperson or forest meditator. That's all, no in between. If you are an ordinary layperson, then you are in the society. But if you want to practice meditation, if you want to become a meditator, then you have to go to the forest. You have to be a nun or monk. Nothing in between, no gray, black or white. But Nilambe, it was a new concept. Nilambe was a new concept for Sri Lanka. Teachers are lay. Lay means not a monk, no, not a nun. Ordinary teacher, ordinary man or woman. And the timetable is different. Working meditation, yoga, So lot of challenges. And what is the motto of Nilambe? Same. Nilambe motto is human is blooming in the society of mud. That is the motto of Nilambe. Mud means unpleasant, painful experiences. Unpleasant and painful experiences. We don't like. We are not expecting anything, any painful experience. Nobody. We always invite for joyful experiences. Always we invite for joyful experiences. But it doesn't matter whether we invite or not, whether we expect or not. Those so-called bad experiences, they enter into our life. They enter into everybody's life for time to time. And then we think something is wrong, or somebody is wrong. And we start to struggle, fight. And if it happens again and again and again, then sooner or later, we depressed. We become depressed. But the Buddha said, if we want to bloom as a lotus flower, then stay in the mud. Stay in the mud. Learn from the mud. That doesn't mean that mud transforms into a flower. No, that is not possible. Don't think that the mud is transforming into a flower, into a lotus flower. No, there are a lot of mud, but no lotus flowers. We need a seed of lotus. We need a seed of lotus. The seed of lotus should be in the mud. Only then a lotus flower can come out. As Ma said in the beginning, mud is so smelly, so dirty, so polluted. But lotus flower is the symbol of purity. In India and in Sri Lanka, that is the symbol of purity. So fragrant, so beautiful. But the mud is opposite. It is so ugly, so smelly, so bad, making you sick. So if someone look at this, and then he or she may think, oh, that is impossible. The mud is so ugly, so smelly, so bad, so polluted. But lotus flower is so beautiful, so pure. Therefore, I should not plant a seed of lotus in the mud, in the polluted, smelly mud. I should keep it on a diamond, on a gold. We can keep it. But what happens to that seed? It is dying. It is dying. If you try to plant a seed of lotus on diamond, on gold, on gems, no lotus flower, even no lotus flower, but it is dying. It is dying. So if no challenges, if no painful experiences, if no dark experiences, then what happens to our spirituality? The seed of spirituality, it is dying. It is dying. It is not death already, but it is dying. Once, a monk was going with the Buddha. He was a temporary attendant to the Buddha. And when they walk, he saw a beautiful river. And beside of the river, there is a beautiful mango plantation. Very beautiful. Maybe that's the season, mango season. So it's so beautiful. So he was looking at, he was so attracted to that environment. We can imagine a beautiful river is flowing, and next to it, a beautiful mango plantation. Nobody is there, only mango trees, mango flowers, and full of mango fruits. And then he said, "Dear Buddha, I want to go to that forest, that place where we passed. I want to meditate there. I couldn't meditate here in the city. I couldn't concentrate. My mind was so wandering here. But when I passed that beautiful environment, my mind was so focused, so attracted. Please give me permission to go there to practice meditation." Buddha said, "No. No, do not go." Then he again asked. For the second time, the Buddha said, "No, don't go." And the third time he asked with some logical explanation, a logic argument. He said, "Dear Buddha, dear sir, you have done your practice. It's completed. You are enlightened now. Therefore, you can live wherever, in the cities, in the palaces, in the human societies, in the villages, no problem. But I am an ordinary man, ordinary human. I had to practice. A long journey is in front of me. So why you are not allowing me to complete my practice? I couldn't practice in the society with so many duties, responsibilities, and responses." Then the Buddha said, "If you argue like this, then I cannot say no." So he bowed down to the Buddha and went to that forest. He was alone now, no duties, no responsibilities, no reactions, no interactions. So nice, so beautiful river and the mango plantation. But what happened to his so many thoughts. He couldn't manage. After a couple of hours, almost he became crazy, mad. He couldn't control his mind. So he went back to the Buddha and apologized and said, "Please allow me to stay with you in the city. Then the Buddha said, that's why I told you not to be alone, not to go there. Time to time it's okay to be alone, but we need interactions. We need interactions, challenges, and also spiritual friends for communication. Otherwise, we don't know where the mind goes. We need some directions for the mind. Otherwise, mind becomes crazy. So, my dear friends, therefore, suffering or whatever is so important. So important means we don't have to create extra suffering for our meditation practice or for our enlightenment. We have good enough or more than good enough resources in our everyday life. And whenever pain comes, whenever a trouble comes, whenever a problem comes, we can look at it as a pond of mud. We can change our attitude, point of view. This is a muddy pond of mud around me, around us. Very bad smell, very polluted. That's true, but we have a choice. Sinking, going down, up to here, or even further. Or be a lotus? No, we can't be a lotus, but we can be a seed of lotus. We can be a seed of lotus. And then what the mud can do? What the mud can do if you become a seed of lotus? The mud cannot fight with you. If you can become a seed of lotus, if you can become a seed of lotus, then mud cannot fight against you. The mud cannot deny you. Mud can win if you struggle. But if you can become a seed of lotus, then consciously or unconsciously, the entire muddy society is feeding you, for rooting, for growing. And then you come to a baby lotus, up to the water. And whenever the sunlight touches you, that's the only transformation. So as meditators, we can make this choice. This is the only choice to become a seed of lotus. Whenever we are suffering, whenever we are struggling, whenever we are having problems, we have to just remember this: better to be a seed of lotus. And learn from whatever happens. then no fight, no fight. The seed is not fighting with the mud. The mud is accepting the seed. This is something beautiful and something difficult. The ego wants to fight against the suffering, against pain. Poor ego. But the wisdom knows it is useless. Therefore, wise people or wise minds transform itself into a seed, into a small seed. Even the mud cannot see it. The suffering cannot find who is suffering. Suffering is still there, but there is nobody is suffering. If you fight, yes, then somebody is there. If you fight against suffering, then somebody is there. The ego is there. Then the suffering, the difficulties, the problems can fight because enemy is there. But if we can become a seed, then the mud can discover us. Mud cannot see us. We become nobody. We become nobody. If we are not fighting, if we are not resisting, then we become nobody. Then only flowering is happening. That is the only way. Flowering is happening. No flower, but flowering is happening. It is an endless happening. Endless happening. Better to not to dream to be a lotus. Better. But just try for flowering, blooming without being a flower. That is meditation. So it is endless happening, flowering, and flowering. From each experience, from every single experience, more and more flowering, more and more flowering. No flower, only flowering, only flowering. So most painful experience is opening a door for this beautiful transformation. Always it happens in this way. Only very few become enlightened because of joyful experiences. Only very few. Most saints and yogis and enlightened beings, they transformed because of painful experiences. That's why Buddhism says it is noble. Suffering is noble. Something very valuable. And actually, happiness and unhappiness are very close to each other. Very close to each other. They are not far away from each other. We know happiness can transform to unhappiness, but we can transform unhappiness into happiness. It is up to us. but it goes other way around without our effort. Happiness becomes unhappiness by itself. Love, the love becomes hatred by itself. But with meditation, we can change the direction of circle. Hatred can become the love. Happiness, unhappiness can become happiness. It is up to us. 100% it is up to us. So my dear friends, this is the message what I would like to share with you in this session. We are living in a muddy society. We are living in a muddy society, polluted society. That's very true. We can go to somewhere. You can come to Nilambe, and it's so peaceful. Or even you can go to ashram. It's more peaceful than Nilambe. And you can live peacefully as a dead seed. But if you are interested in flowering, then stay as a live seed, inside of whatever you experience, until you are transforming. Live seed, that is very important. Be alive, be conscious, be aware, be alert, and be mindful. Do not allow that live seed to die. And from every single experience, we can flower. We can flowering. There is no flower, but flowering is happening. Thank you very much. I think now time for meals, lunch for European meditators and dinner for Hong Kong meditators. And for me, maybe tea. And any American meditator is then breakfast. And after that, we can continue this practice. And in 2 hours, we can meet with the chanting, meditation, and discussion. Till that, enjoy your flowering.